How you look, man? You look cool?
Yeah.
All right, this the mic right here. It's cool if I clip it on you?
Yeah.
Clip it right here. All right, so we just gonna start off. What's your name and where you from?
My name is Nick. I'm from LA.
Okay. And how long have you been out here?
Back and forth from LA to Palmdale. Pretty much my whole life.
Okay, so what is your your struggle or like your addiction?
So growing up, my mom was a single mom, you know. Should I go back that far? Should I go back that far? Or
As far as you want to go, just
all right.
whatever you're comfortable, just naturally.
Yeah. So you know, she was a single mom, so we, you know, struggled a lot as kids. You know, we'd have to, you know, go get water from the neighbor just to flush the toilet. You know, and it was hard, you know, growing up, you know, without my dad, and moving back and forth, going into different schools and stuff. You know, I cleaned up. You know, figured out a way. I went to college for medical assisting, graduated, and after working in the field for a couple of years, I started hanging out the wrong crowd and started selling dope, and you know, just so I can keep money in my pockets. You know, so I ended up getting caught because I got snitched on, and when me and my sister were going to visit my cousin, who we were bringing the drugs into for, the U.S. Marshals came and arrested us, and I did 2 years up north in Kings County jail for that. And after that, I lost my job, so that's when my life took a big old turn, you know, for downward spiral, you know. From then,
let's go back a little bit. How was your relationship with your mother growing up?
It was a struggle. You know, she uses dope too to the day. So, you know, she's been, you know, I try to respect her as much as I can, but gets very disrespectful at times, you know, and very, you know, violent, I guess you could say, mentally abusive, or, you know, verbally abusive.
Yeah. What about your dad? Was he around?
My dad, I've called him and spoke to him a few times, but he's pretty much, every time he just, you know, anytime he has a chance to come in my life, he just, you know, tries to, you know, see what he can get out of me, you know, in a way, instead of helping me out, you know. So, you know, so I grew up with a dad and shit, and
you remember how old you were when you got first introduced to
drugs?
Yeah, as far as like personal.
About 14.
How did that happen? How was that?
My mom had a bunch of people coming over to the house. You know, it was like a trap house. You know, like, I mean, people, you know, like a new person every day showing up. You know, that were homeless, and you know, my mom it was like a constant in and out door, like a Motel 6. You know, and so you know, a bunch of shit happened then. You know, because I was you know a youngster, and you know, ended up you know getting molested by one of the people that were there, and I feel like that affected me in a lot of ways. Never really talked to her about it. Never told her anything about it, you know. Never really brought it to anyone's attention just because I was, you know, embarrassed or whatever. And you know, I don't think she would have cared at the moment anyway, because she was in her addiction, you know.
Right.
We're living in Los Banos at the time, which is funny because Los Banos in Spanish is the bathroom. So it's a city in out north, and like near Merced, Modesto area. It's about 4 hours from LA. And we left there because she got with her new dude in Palmdale, and it's just, you know, she just seems to find, you know, these men that are, you know, pretty much, you know, not drug addicts because they don't do drugs, but they're just, you know, alcoholics, or, you know, and you know, me and him never got along at all because, you know, he disrespects my mom at times, and you know, I get in the middle of it, you know, because it's my mom, you know, so.
That was your dad or stepdad?
Stepdad. Yeah. Just recently, he ended up just getting sober, so he actually changed up, you know, changed for the better. And recently, it's maybe like he's probably like 120 days clean or something like that off alcohol. So it's getting better, but my mom's just been with, you know, it just seems like she was just never wanted to work. So she would just get with dudes that would pay the bills, and for the time being, and then they kick rocks, and then someone else would come into their life, But so drugs have always been in my life, since I can remember. But I started through using myself, like stealing drugs and taking them at like 14.
What was the first drug you?
Weed, and then that pretty quickly changed to smoking crack, and mixing it with weed in a blunt, and then meth, and
all like between like 14 and how? Between like 14-year old and how old?
To this day, I struggle with drugs.
And as of today, what's your choice of drug today?
Meth and fentanyl. Which is a motherfucker, like they say, I mean, I've overdosed and died 2 times. Thank God they were able to bring me back, But I got off, I went to the program, got out, it's just hard to get back on your feet once you're a felon, people would tell me, to stay out of trouble and all that stuff, but I never knew that, getting a felon, having a background would, affect my life so much, It's hard to do anything when you got a record, And I just kind of wish I would have listened, to people that were, the outside people, like my grandma was supported us a lot. She, when she was alive, and it just always seems like a drug. I just keep going back to drug, It just seems like it's hard to stay away from it, Especially when a big portion of your family uses drugs, like where I live at now. Everybody uses drugs other than my mom's boyfriend, my stepdad, and it just, it's full, it just seems like, especially in Palmdale, it's just there's not much to do other than get in trouble and use drugs,
Yeah, really easy to get distracted.
Yeah, so I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix it out right now, but it's still, with the felonies on my background that I have, burglary, robbery, all that stuff, it's just, be having a prison background, it just seems that the system is not made for, or not rehabilitation friendly, I guess you could say.
You having kids?
I don't have any kids, thank God. I got a girl pregnant and she had a miscarriage. I don't want to say thank God, but it was kind of probably better for our situation because I don't want to bring a kid into this world when I don't have my shit together,
Do you feel like possibly, say you did have that child at that moment, could it have helped you change, or probably?
Probably, because I would have, feel like I had no choice, because my dad wasn't there for me growing up at all, So I would want to provide different for him, for her, whichever it was, but.
So what you think the biggest misconception people have about people who struggle with drugs?
It's not really a choice. I mean, it's a choice, but it's not. But it's you're not all drug addicts are bad people. There are some, but there are some people that are sober that are bad people too. And if you've never been a drug addict, you'll never understand the struggle and the struggles that day to day, you go through, and it is a choice in a way, because you can get clean, but it's not just that easy.
It's not an easy choice.
It's not easy, yeah, and especially when you like I kind of feel like I didn't have a chance, because just the problems as a kid, you can only do so much as a child. But I've been in foster care homes. I've been in the system, and it's just there's not really, it's like I said, it's not really rehabilitation friendly, and there's the resources are just, a lot of the resources are just, used on, company, nonprofits that are not really doing much, or just, use the money in, other areas, but I feel like I would have been able to, get out of prison the first time, and, I wanted to clean up my life, so, but it's like, everywhere I try to apply it, any good jobs, I was getting, because I had a financial background, I would get, my application would be tossed away, or,
What was that like? Like, how did you, your first time going to prison, what was that? What happened?
Man, honestly, at first I was really scared, but I guess, I got a pretty decent personality, so I got along pretty well. I ended up selling up with the shot caller for the whites, and he took pretty good care of me, you know, like he showed me the ropes, and, you know, I got into a couple fights, but he showed me, you know, the ropes of, you know, like the politics in the county jail. And Kings County, it's really, really, I mean, it's like LA County, they politic a lot. I used to county, not prison.
For your first time getting arrested?
Oh, yeah,
like,
that's county.
What led up to that?
My sister was bringing drugs in and doing, you know, hanging out with a bunch of gangsters, and I just thought that it wasn't really a woman's job. So I intervened and made it, you know, to where, you know, it was a lot easier, not only that, but a lot safer, because, you know, it's not really, not to be biased, but it's not really, you know, it's not really safe for women to do it by themselves, because, you know, some men see women, you know, doing it, and they you know, they get jealous or whatever, and they either, you know,
Not
kill them.
Anybody, but
yeah, it's not safe for anybody.
Different challenges.
Yeah, you know, women, you know, and I just see my sister doing it by herself, and I was just like, nah, this you know, me and my sister are pretty close, but so I ended up taking over, you know, pretty much control over it, and got 2 years.
How was that for those 2 years selling drugs? Like, was it lucrative or?
It was very lucrative. I mean,
how was your life? How was your life then? For those
it was great. I was working at the hospital at the time.
Okay.
I was making great money. I had a full benefits package. I mean, I was working right here at AV Hospital, and I thought that, you know, honestly, I had my own house. I had my little dog. It was brand new, and the inside was refurbished, you know, redone, remodeled. I mean, it was a badass house, and I had, honestly, at that point in my life, I had everything I wanted, and then some. My bills were paid 2 months ahead of time. I mean, life was good. Life was really good, you know. And then once I started selling the drugs, it was just even better, you know, because I was making more money, not thinking about the consequences that you know, that can come out, you know, during or after. So, but yeah, after that, my life turned upside down.
So the turning point was when you got arrested for selling drugs. That's when everything changed.
Yeah. I mean, everything. Like, I lost my job. I thought that calling my job and having my family members call my job and explain to them what was going on to be, I feel like the honesty was the best policy, and maybe it was, you know, but maybe, I mean, they fired me, and then I tried to get my job back a few years afterwards, and they just were like, you know, we want you, but we, you know, we can't, you know, with the record, because I guess insurance issues, you know, their insurance, you know, for their workers, I guess, you know, you know, I don't really know the laws about that, but I guess they couldn't hire me back on due to their insurances, you know, the insurance, you know, I guess I'm looked at as a you know, someone that could, you know, could get him a lawsuit, or, you know,
a liability.
Liability, there you go. Yeah. I looked at more as a liability instead of a asset, you know. So they told me, you know, that they couldn't hire me back, and I've tried applying for other you know, places in the medical field, and I just, you know, because of my background, I just keep on getting denied, you know, and it honestly is making me like it's very hard to rehabilitate, you know, like to get back up on your feet, you know, once you're already, you know, especially that kind of felony, you know, bringing drugs into a prison. I mean, it wasn't, you know, I didn't really get in trouble for selling the drugs. I got in trouble for bringing them into prison, which is like a pretty they don't play about that, you know, like, so.
So as far as recovery, like, so how moments you tried, like, how often were you able to stay clean?
I was able to stay clean for like 120 days. I went to Tarzana Treatment Center and inpatient, and it was cool when I was in there, and then I got out and I was doing really good, you know, and then came back here to my mom's house and used again. You know, it's like, it just seemed like, you know, this house, I gotta stay away from this house, you know, but then again, I've done that too, and like, I was homeless in Skid Row, you know, LA area, you know, I was homeless, and it's just really unsafe out there, you know. I mean, it's, you know, it's just, I mean, the struggle is real as hell out there, and it's just, you know, even, you know, and all these programs and all, you know, you just get, I mean, somehow you just end up not meeting the criteria, or, you know, you have to have this, or you have to have this diagnosis, or you have to have. It's kind
of how teachers try to teach a class of 30 students all the same way.
Yeah.
Everybody can't recover.
Yeah, and the way the system is you can't, you know, they don't, you know, you don't get a second chance in a way. Like, you know, like, I can never work for the sheriffs. I can never work for a government agency. I can never, you know, all the good jobs. You know, and it's like that one mistake, you know, made it to where I can't do none of that, you know. So it's kind of, it makes me to the point where, like, sometimes I give up and I'm just down on myself and I don't want to do anything. I just feel like there's no, you know, like, just start thinking about like suicide, or, you know, because I just run out of thoughts of what I can do, and I know one thing, hustling and being on the streets is not one of them, though. I know that, there's no place for nobody. I don't care how hard you are, how cool you are, how crazy you are, how gangster you are, whatever, it's not a place for anybody, And being on the streets, you're thirsty or hungry, or and there's really no one's coming to your help. Like, there's really no one coming to, your family gets tired of, the good family members you got are tired of helping because you relapse. And, like I said, if you don't do drugs or you've never done drugs, you don't understand the struggle the drugs bring, and it's the drug addict's fault, for choosing. But some of us have mental health issues. Some of us, like being molested, did put a toll on my thought process too. I just was like, thinking that, pretty much like everybody out there is, bad out there. Like there's no good people. You just start to be in a down. The way you look at life is a lot different. And then you get paranoid, and then that leads into like schizophrenic, type. So, I mean, it's definitely caused me to have some mental health issues, because like I said, I had my life, I had everything I wanted at the time when I was, working at the hospital, and I was, bringing drugs in. I mean, I was getting paid like $3,400 a drop, and it would only take me like a weekend, and I was already had a cousin that was in jail, in prison that we were going to, so I was get to visit him and, at the same time, so it was just like, it was a win-win situation. And then I started doing more prisons, started doing Lancaster, started doing other prisons, and I was, I felt like I was the man, at that point. Yeah, it's getting hot, in here. So it's just hard to recover, especially like the people that want to, it's just hard.
So touching on that, so what would you tell your younger self, looking back, that 14-year-old boy?
Listen to people that are talking to you. Listen to the advice that your elders are giving to you. Sometimes even though we think it's just repetitive nonsense, it's really, especially with the people that care about you. That they got your best interest. I mean, listen to them and think before you think before you act. Think of every action. Every action is a reaction. And listen. To be a sponge instead of a big loudmouth. Like listen more than you talk. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. It's pretty much what the best of us are.
So before we go, like what's some things about you people wouldn't expect, or they'd be surprised to know about Nick?
That I was a gangbanger, a gang member.
What about like some positive, some good things?
What people think that they wouldn't know?
They'd be surprised, like wow.
People pretty much know that, like, they'd be surprised probably to know that, that's a good question, that I do care about, my life, and that, that I do want to get better. It's just, I'm struggling with, I just, there's not really the resources out there to do a lot of it, But I pretty much, I'm pretty open about my, about stuff for the most part. So there's not really much surprises people have, like. But I'm compassionate, like I care, like I gave my last jacket to, I gave my last pair of gloves to a homeless dude in LA one time. It was cold as hell, but I gave my last pair of gloves. He's an older man, and so
you got a good heart.
I got a real good heart. Yeah, I got a real good heart. And it's just, sometimes I hate the fact, because some people, they don't respect it. They just do you wrong right after you just did them right. And it's like things they just don't expect, but you put out. Don't expect the same, because you'll be disappointed.
Okay, then before we go, a piece of advice you would want to give somebody struggling with addiction?
Don't give up. Man, don't give up. I'm not gonna give up either. Just don't give up. Just every day, just try to be. I try to be a better person every day. And some days you're gonna, are not gonna feel, the best. But just keep pushing. Like, don't give up on yourself. You deserve it.
All right, Nick. Appreciate you.
Yeah.